Dan Celia. So the fiscal cliff, folks. Look, we've got a U.S. fiscal cliff. I already talked about that. It could equate as much as 4.5% to GDP, according to some estimates. You've got the Greek fiscal cliff. We've got to take that in consideration because the Greek fiscal cliff is systemic. Okay, it is not just something that is going to be isolated to Greece. And the Greece fiscal cliff. Now, here's what's happened in Greece recently. They have agreed, it's nice of them, they have agreed to more cuts, more austerity measures. Now, they had no choice. I'm looking for the exact number. They have no choice because in order for them to get what they need, which is another 31 billion euros in financial aid, bailout that's called, bailout money, they had to pass, which they did yesterday, they had to pass $3.5 billion in austerity measures. Now, you need to understand they've got to go ahead and pass these austerities, okay? That's fine. I get it. But do you understand every time they do that, they again take a shot at their GDP growth? They create more unemployment, reducing productivity, and they don't have a whole lot of productivity to begin with because they're not producing a whole lot of things. They're a tourist-driven economy, basically, but they don't have a lot. So they're taking another shot at their productivity. I don't understand what part the EU doesn't understand, what they don't get about as you demand more austerity. There has to be a limit. As you demand more austerity, you are also willing to accept a reduction in GDP growth and higher unemployment rate, which is going to cause them to just need the next bailout a little bit sooner than they're going to need it normally. I mean, it is just a no-win situation. And it's why we are seeing Finland, Sweden, Germany, continue to have issues. So even though they've passed this, the fiscal cliff is the IMF going to see this as adequate for them to throw in some bailout money? And is the European Union going to see it as meeting all the requirements? And one of those requirements still, at least until January 1st, is still that everybody's got to get on board with bailing out Greece and to continue to put this money out. It is a fiscal cliff for Greece for certain. It is going to impact and be systemic to Europe and to the United States. The other fiscal cliff, there's three of them. So we got the U.S., we've got Greece, and we got to look at Spain. Spain's not going anywhere, and it's getting worse. Now, everybody's talking about Europe, as I suspected they would. But it is as if we are talking about Europe for the very first time. It's not as if Europe is in a bad way all of a sudden. This is a 2-year problem that hasn't been going away. It has never, listen, it has never been fixed. Do we understand? Because apparently those over in Europe don't understand this. Do we understand that bailout money is not a fix to the fundamentals, the underlying fundamentals of an economy? Bailout money is no more a fix to the underlying fundamentals of an economy any more than quantitative easing is a fix to the underlying fundamentals of the U.S. economy. Now, we are struggling wrapping our arms around a very, very simple result here, or equation to fixing the underlying fundamentals of an economy. Yet we will continue to kick the can down the road and continue to bail out, continue to print money, continue to do quantitative easing, because there is still a mentality, even though it hasn't worked in 2 years, there is still a mentality that some way, shape, or form that the more we dump in money, the more we bail out, the more we print money, there is going to be at some point in time a stimulative effect to those economies. And that stimulative effect, with the economies now growing as a result of the stimulative effect, will create a sounder footing that these economies are on. The problem is it hasn't worked, and it's not likely to work, and the global economy continues to get worse. McDonald's this morning has reported sales are slipping. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to read the report because the report just simply says that McDonald's is slipping. When you get deep into the weeds of the report, you find out that, yes, sales are off 2.2%, but there is something very new, a new phenomena that is coming to McDonald's. It is the Walmart phenomena. It's what Walmart has been dealing with for a long time. And that is they're starting to see their sales being tied to payroll cycles. See, this is what happens in Walmart. So if the payroll cycle in a particular area is primarily every other week, sales spike that weekend. Then they die off, they drop dramatically until the next payroll cycle. Well, McDonald's has never suffered from that. Well, apparently now they are.